is up, people? My name is Timmy Joe, and I make videos about computers on the internet. Just wiping the old fingerprints off the Note 8 here. Fingerprint magnet of the year. Pretty nice looking phone, though. But I'm here to tell you, you shouldn't buy it. Am I crazy? What's going on here? I make videos about computers on the internet, but today we're talking tiny, well, relatively large, actually, cell phones that fit in your jeans, well, sort of fit in your jeans. Well, anyways, this is the Note 8, okay, and it is the latest and greatest, and I'm very lucky to have been using it for the better part of a week now, and I wanted to give my thoughts and impressions and kind of do a little review, but as I have in the past, I'm not just going to do a regular old standard review like everyone else. I'm going to tell you, you should buy the S7 Edge over this and the S8 Plus because the S7 Edge is and was the greatest smartphone that the Samsung has and ever will make. Well, I mean, that's a lot. That's a big claim to make, but at least up to date, I still think that this is the best phone you can buy, and that any updates to the S8 and Note line have just been for the sake of change and the sake of nabbing the $1,000 out of your wallet. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to do a quick comparison, S7 Edge versus the Note 8. I know they're not exactly, direct competitors or whatever, direct siblings, but you should actually probably buy an S8 Plus if you're considering any sort of new phone, because this thing does not offer much, of an upgrade over the S8 Plus. It is a hell of a lot more expensive, and this versus that in the expense, well, we'll get to it anyway. So, moving on. I've done this video in the past. Check them out. This is one where I didn't even have the S8 in my hands. I was just kind of talking out of my butt. It has 200,000 views. Here's one with 30,000 where I actually compared the S7 with the S8. I had both phones in my hands, and I still made the conclusion that the S7 Edge is the clear winner, is the phone you should be buying because it's so much cheaper and still has all the, the features of the world. So let's dive into the Note 8 and why I think the S7 is the better buy, and go over some quirks of this phone, and then we'll, at the end, get to everything I actually really liked about it. So let's talk the first really, the first reason why you should buy the S7, BIXBY. Okay? Dedicated assistant button you can't turn off, that you're always constantly accidentally hitting, that if you want to log in and use it, you actually have to log in to use it. It will not work otherwise. And then I was like, okay, well, I'll give it a shot this time. With the S8, I kind of skipped right over it. It wasn't even working at the time. It's working now, and I went to log in, and I couldn't get it to accept my Samsung ID. I definitely have one. I mean, I had a Note 2, I had a Note 1. I've definitely looked for Note-specific software in their store. I've definitely had a Samsung account. But there's no option to just send the password or a password reset to my email. And after 45 minutes of trying to log into an old account, I was like, well, hell, I'll make a new account. Went to do that, and the new account sign-up service was offline. So, BIXBY be damned. I'm not using BIXBY, and I will never use BIXBY, and as far as this button's concerned, I would burn it off if I could. Number 2 reason why you should buy the S7 Edge over the S8, fingerprint sensor location. Gone over this before with the S8 Plus, but this has the iris scanner built into it too, and I genuinely gave it a shot to use the iris scanner on this. This is what you have to do, okay? It works with glasses, sort of. Most of the time, you're taking your glasses off just to get it to work better, and you go like this. You have to position your eyes in the little holes in the screen and do that. And you're going to look like a damn fool in public doing that all the time, okay? It basically writes it off for me as a feature I would use, because in order to unlock your phone, you have to look at your phone quickly and squint a little bit. I know I'm being dramatic, but it's true. So let's use the fingerprint sensor. It's right up there beside the camera, and if I have pretty big hands and I was having trouble reaching it all the time, if you have small hands, you're just never going to reach it on this phone. It's too damn big. On the S8 Plus, same sort of story. On the S8, maybe be a little bit better, but you're going to smudge the camera lens. So you know what I did while I was using this? Turned off all security features. I think if I actually owned this phone, I would just go back to using pattern unlock. Now, if you're an older Samsung, with the button, you click it and it unlocks. It's just that easy. It's, you know, why they had to break this, I don't know. And if they were going to get rid of the fingerprint sensor on the front, why didn't they put it in the middle on the back? Design around that. Moving on. Number 3, battery life. Terrible on this. I'm going to just get to the point. Very often I'm looking for a charger at about 9 o'clock. It's at 15%. Okay, I'm a power user of this phone. I set the resolution as high as it'll go. The brightness is usually up there during the day. It's meant for that type of use, so why it doesn't have a battery that can necessitate that, well, I'll leave it to this guy's baby brother who exploded all over the place and blame him. But this phone here, genuinely at 11 o'clock, I have 35% battery life more often than not, if not more. There are days when I have 50% left, and I watch tons of YouTube videos on this. I take pictures. I use it as a video camera. I'm a power user, and this thing genuinely lasts me a full day with way more room to spare, way more room to go out on the, you know, night on the town and not have to worry about it. If you were, you know, if it was 8 o'clock and you were going to go out to the bar with this thing, you'd be looking for a charger to plug it in for a half hour before you went out to make sure that you didn't, you know, you were able to call that Uber at the end of the night. It's just that simple, okay? Put it into terms y'all young kids can understand. Moving on to number 4. This is the features, okay? They're virtually identical between the S7 Edge and this, with the exception of iris scanner, okay? Secondary camera, USB-C, and the S Pen, okay? Now, other phones have had the S Pen, and most people will just probably skip over it, but we'll actually get to why I really like the S Pen in a little bit. But take those four or five features away, you have this phone here. Yes, this has an extremely cool, awesome display. That's a weird aspect ratio that I don't like that they went that way. But aside from those couple things, everything else is the same. The speaker, the main camera, the micro SD, the, I don't know, just the resolution. The list goes on. Very similar specs. Okay, I know this is a little bit faster, but I don't find that this is a slow phone at all with all the Android updates and stuff. Very fast phone. Yes, this has a, you know, Snapdragon, but it's running more software, you know, so they kind of end up feeling like the same experience to me. Last little bit, okay, last reason, price. Okay, boom, boom, there we go. It's $1,000. Well, $949. It's what, $960. It's $1,300 Canadian, okay, or $549 with a 2-year commitment. It's very, very, very expensive. This is free with a 2-year commitment in Canada. It's like $600 on U.S. carriers. It's half the price and offers most of the same features. So it's pretty easy to see there that unless you really need a few extra features or you have money to burn, that is the obvious choice. I mean, come on. So those are my 5 reasons, okay? BIXBY button sucks. The better fingerprint scanner location, I mean, you know, that's up to you. But honestly, I pick the fingerprint scanner on that any day over anything this thing can do. Battery life's terrible on this phone. And you're going to be looking for a charger. On that, it's amazing, okay? They basically have the same features as number 4, with the exception of a few updates on this thing. And the price is a major reason you should buy the S7 Edge while they're still available over the Note 8. Alrighty. So let's move on to all the reasons why I actually really like this phone. And if I had money to burn, I would totally put it in my pocket, sort of, if you can fit it. I got big pockets, but if you're a tiny person, you're going to have trouble. So the you know, elephant or the pen in the room is this thing. Okay, I've had the Note 1, the Note 2, and the Note 4. Okay, I didn't have the Note 5, but I've played with the S Pen before, and this is the best S Pen ever yet. It's basically like using a pencil crayon or a pen or a paintbrush on the screen. I've literally used it more than I think I've ever used any of the other notes before, and I've only had this for a week because it's fun. I doodled in it. Like every time there was a cartoon on the screen, I just started to see if I could replicate, you know, that. And I actually really like the fact that you can just pull the pen out and start writing on the screen, writing little notes, you know, a phone number really quickly, or a website or an email. It's pretty cool for that. So for an artist, for a Photoshop user, for a power user, that feature is really going to appeal to some people, but 99% of the people are going to skip over this. So what else does it have that's, you know, better? The screen's beautiful, it's gorgeous, of course, but because of its weird aspect ratio and because of the lack of the physical home key and stuff like that, I actually found it kind of like it got in the way a little bit, and I know I'd get used to it. The point being, yes, the screen's better on this, and the only other thing I really liked about it was the camera is a little bit better. Okay, let's look at some examples. Let's just start out here with the bokeh effect. Okay, this is the bokeh effect. It's a little puppy on my wife's dashboard. It's a pretty cute little picture, and I took it with the smartphone. It looks like it was taken with an SLR. Here's my wife and my kid with the, you know, blurred background. It looks awesome. This looks like it's straight out of a Canon, you know, 5i, T6i, or a 70D or something like that. It really does. And with the right lighting conditions, especially, like this was a really nice bright day, it looks good. But compared with the S7, you know, just without, you know, doing the blurred thing, here's the S8, okay? Here's the S7. Can you tell the difference? No, you can't. Here's the I forget even which one this is. I think that's the S7, and here's the Note 8. Can't tell the difference, can you? So they basically have the same camera. Samsung's cameras are so good at this point. It's hard to, you know, really improve upon them, and all they could do to improve upon it was add a second lens so you can do that bokeh effect. I mean, what are they going to do next? I don't know. It's such a good camera that you can't get much better. Moving on to that zoom camera. So here's zoomed out, and then here's zoomed in with the second lens. But if you go back to that original picture and just press zoom, it looks the same, and it's the same detail too. I'll show you again here. Here's a car from far away with the primary lens, and here's the zoomed in lens, and when you go back and press zoom, looks the same. So really, all that secondary lens that is there for is giving that bokeh effect. And, you know, I don't know, is that worth it to you? Not sure. But anyways, let's just sum things up. I really like the Note 8, and if price was no object, sure, but Samsung is stealing money from you because they already made the good phone, and all they're doing is making change for change's sake so they can charge another $500-600 from you. So I'll leave it up to you whether or not that's worth it for a pen and a little bit better camera. And if you're looking for a really good phone and you think that this looks old by now, get the S8 Plus. It's between the prices of these two, and you know, if you're, I would say that this is definitely the best buy out of all of them, but this is for like 1% of people, okay? And the S8 might be for like, let's say 40% of people, and the rest goes to buying this. I'm at Timmy on Instagram and Twitter. This has been my summation of why you should buy the S7 Edge over the Note 8. What a silly claim to make, but I just wanted to, you know, do a little bit of a different review here. I do like the Note. I do like the S8 Plus, but I'll put this in my pocket and be happy to have the better battery life and the cheaper price all day long. I'll see you guys in another video. Watch the other S8 videos or whatever, S7 Edge versus S8 videos if you'd like. And thanks very much for coming to my channel, and I'll see you guys in another video.